Let me know if you can see me, and let me know if you can hear me. And I hope you can both. I hope you can do both. Let me check. Okay. Because like on the feed on YouTube, and it's because I paused it. I was like, oh my God, it's still not coming through. I give up. I was gonna let it go anyway. Because I just did not want to go without doing this. You guys, this is some news just came to my desk from a video that I did released yesterday about why Black love is so hard to get. You guys should check it out. There's been some studies out that particularly young Black people, and probably Black people in general, they polled about 129 students in college, and they polled that they either had secure or avoidant attachment styles. I'm not going to get into it right now because that's not what we're talking about today, but it does lend to why we have so many issues in the Black community when it comes to relationships and why we constantly obsess over them. I wanted to do the live tonight because there was a comment in that section that somebody left, and I thought he was just trolling. And I said, I'll entertain it. I said, as far as I know, when it comes to interracial marriages, I've been in this business for a while. The book right there, Swirling, is mine. It came out in 2012. In those early days, I'd say probably between 2015, 2020, we had a statistic that was done by sociologists that suggested that Black women and white men have the longest marriages. It was something that we touted throughout these YouTube streets. We bragged about it. We were like, see, we're not the problem. They're the problem. And then I saw this study, and at first I was like, you have to verify stuff, right? You have to verify like if stuff is true because there's so much fake stuff out there. So I went to the site and looked at where they derived their credentials from. And it looks legit, you guys. It looks super legit. There are some nuggets in there. We are going to talk about it. I want to leave the lines open if you guys want to talk about these statistics, because I know a lot of people were using that statistic for marketing purposes, including myself. Like I was like, that makes sense, right? It's like both of us in each of our communities, we kind of get kicked around. Like at least we have common ground over that trauma, right? And so it made sense to me. And when I looked at this particular new data that came out July 17th, by the way, which is my birthday, shout out, Michael. No worries about being late. So we're going to look at it and we're going to talk about it. And it's not great news, but it's not great news really for anybody. I think the only people that get off pretty good are Asian men. So here we go. And here's another thing too. You know what? I wanted to talk about this because I know that people who like to give Black women their so-called Negro wake-up calls are going to be all over this. It doesn't serve us to not address it. because then we're just as bad as they are about just putting the news in that we want to see and we want to hear, as opposed to what's true. And I'm gonna just be honest, like I'm ready to share what's true. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat anything. I'm not going to try to make excuses for it. I mean, it is what it is. The numbers are the numbers. And I'm terrible with numbers, but I love numbers in terms of how they help me see patterns. And yeah, we are going to go through each one of these statistics. And there's a ton. And I want you to get ready. I want you to like not, cry in your pillow or anything. Nobody's trying to force you to do anything, so nobody say, oh, the pink pill rebranded and she trying to make us go back to Pookie and Ray Ray. No, I'm not trying to do that, but it does behoove us to know what, what the deal is. So this is what we're going to do. This is the deal, and we're going to talk about it. And whether we like the information or not, it's worth talking about, and that's what we're going to do. All right, first, 41% of interracial marriages end in divorce within the first 5 years. Now, that's all interracial marriages, okay? The next one, interracial couples have a 41% chance of divorce compared to 31% for same race couples. Black male, white female marriages have a 44% higher divorce rate than white marriages. White male, black female marriages have a 59% higher divorce rate than white marriages. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what do you guys think of that? What do you think of that? It's a huge number. I know, Charlotte. Hey, Charlotte, can you do me a favor? Can you let the ladies in the underground know that I'm live? I meant to do it, but then I had some technical difficulties. All is not lost. There are, other factors here, and we're going to talk about it, and it's best to just be honest. Here's my take on it. If Black people are having trouble with marriages, you can't point one finger or the other at the gender. We're both doing bad. It's just the men are doing slightly less bad. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit too, okay? But let me go ahead and keep sharing this. Hold on. Asian male, white female marriages have a 4% lower divorce rate than white marriages. Y'all see that? Asian men are out here winning, staying married to white women. White women, you guys need to be looking for these Asian men, because Asian men, you will have a 4% lower divorce rate than if you marry a white man. So kudos to you. White male, Asian female marriages have a 6% higher divorce rate than white marriages. So white male, Asian female, you're talking about a 6% higher divorce rate versus a 59% divorce rate. There are no words coming out of my mouth because I don't know what to say. All I'm doing is reporting news. Nobody get mad at me for reporting the news. Nobody get mad that I'm actually saying something, because if it was not going to be me, it was going to be one of these manosphere folks that were going to smear it in your face. Better you hear it from me than from them. Okay. Asian white couples have a 4% higher chance of divorce than white couples. Black white marriages have a 50% higher divorce rate than white marriages. Hispanic white marriages have an 18% higher divorce rate than white marriages. You know what this is looking like? This is looking bad, you guys. This is looking really bad. Interracial marriages involving a white spouse have a 10% higher divorce rate than same race marriages. Interracial couples with children have a 10% lower divorce rate than without children. Okay. So I know I kind of upset some people with this. It's shocking to me as well. But it's not all doom and gloom. There are some nuances to this study that probably other channels who don't want to put things in context, they're not going to want to show you. And I think that we're gonna tell it all, okay? And really quick, before we go on, I'm gonna put the link in the chat. And if you want to join the stage to discuss it, let's talk about it. I'm certainly down to talk. I think there's a lot to talk about. Now, let me go back to this stat. Again, nuance here. Interracial couples with children have a 10% lower divorce rate than those without children. Okay, so to my audience, I want you guys to put your listening ears back on, because the remainder of these statistics will probably be helpful for you, and just in general probably be helpful for you in the future for your relationships in general. So have some kids, y'all, if you're in an interracial marriage. 50% of interracial divorces cite differences in parenting styles as a contributing factor. Okay, so say you have one spouse who is, kind of had free range child rearing from their parents, and another one was more strict. I'm gonna be honest with you. Black people make fun of white folks all the time. We make fun of y'all all the time about how y'all let your children talk to y'all any kind of way, cuss you out. I hate you, daddy. You're not my mother. And we just laugh and laugh and laugh. But to be honest, they may talk to y'all like that, and we would get beat. They'd be like, get a switch. A switch is the other tree. And it better be green too. We can't talk to our parents like that for the most part, but it doesn't make for better outcomes in terms of whether or not we were spanked and y'all let your kids, say F you whenever you took their PlayStation away. Y'all's kids still tend to generally do better, even though a lot of them are disrespectful as hell. So I don't know if the disciplining, some of us have had really harsh discipline that clearly doesn't work, right? But for us, whooping your kids has been, up until recent generations, like a hammer that only sees a nail. That's like all we do. So it's up until recently that we've been like, maybe we want to try some different strategies. But, shoot, my parents, it was like, get the switch, get the belt, that's it. So parenting styles, I think that if you're with someone, a white guy, and they were never spanked, and you out there trying to get the switch to beat one of his kids with, it might be a problem. I don't know. Probably a problem. Interracial couples who regularly participate in each other's family traditions have a lower divorce rate. Do you see where I'm going with this? See, y'all are all sad and stuff. Y'all are all sad and stuff. But now we're getting to the good part. Again, interracial couples who regularly participate in each other's family traditions have a 30% lower divorce rate. So what does that tell you? Respect the other person's traditions. You know, integrate your traditions. If you guys did like have some, I don't know, Christmaka, is that what they call it? Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Kwanzaa or something. It helps. 30% lower. So try to figure out how you can merge the food and, you know, try to figure out how you can blend it. 50% of interracial divorces cite cultural differences as a major factor. So what does that mean? That means that there's going to have to be some more sensitivity and empathy on each side for these couples to actually work. I'm going to take a break from this for a second because I want to make sure I'm checking out the chat, seeing what you guys are talking about, and if any of you guys want to come up. Let's see. Pink pill, very shame-based. It's giving an agenda. CK wants attention and she's mad at divested women. Okay. Whatever you say. I see the BBC as a source from the, okay. I don't think this is far-fetched, parenting styles. Okay. I can see that, but for divorce. Be curious as to what. I believe these couples were integrating. What brought you together can be a factor that breaks you up. Okay. All right. So that's basically it. So I like, just to be clear, I'm not mad at divestors. I'm not thinking about y'all. Understand that. We have nothing to talk about. There was nothing, there was no discussion. There was no getting back at. I'm not interested in you. I don't know you. I don't know you. I don't know you. So as far as I don't get mad at people I don't know. Okay. I hope that answers your question. So anyway, back to the study. Okay, next thing. 40% of interracial divorces report family disapproval as a contributing factor. I can see that. Definitely. I can see that on both sides. On both sides. A lot of people think, especially if they don't have a lot of experiences in interracial relationships, they automatically think it's like the white parents that are displeased about the unions. But you would be shocked that from the people who I talked to, a lot of them, it was the Black side of their family that had a problem with their interracial relationship or marriage. And they weren't quiet about it, like at all. So I've also heard it on the other end. I've also heard, you know, there was one Asian guy, I wrote about him in the book, when his mother found out that he was dating a Black girl, she threatened to kill herself. Now, there's some cultural issues involved with that. I shouldn't have said that. I should have said unalive. I hope I don't get demonetized for that. There's some cultural factors in that because he is the only and eldest son. And in their tradition, the woman, the wife, takes care of the in-laws. And I guess that Chinese mother looked at, she was like, no, I don't want this. Because we don't have that kind of obligation. We're not enculturated for that. I think actually African women and Caribbean women are more suited for those kind of dynamics. But in the United States, most of us aren't living with and caring for our in-laws as part of the package for marriage. And some of us are. 60% of interracial divorces cite communication issues as a major factor. 60%. So we're not talking to each other, or maybe we're talking along, past each other. 45% of interracial divorces report financial issues as a contributing factor. Money will definitely put a kink in the fun because love don't pay the bills. 55% of interracial divorces cite cultural misunderstandings as a contributing factor. Yeah. You guys want me to give you a story time right now? I'll give you guys a story time right now about this. Because everybody knows about it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. This actually happened with me. I was seeing someone after my divorce. I was married to a white guy for 20 years. I wouldn't be part of this cohort because I think that they range like from 7 to 10 years, and I was married for 20. I don't know if they were factoring that in. I think once you get to like 20 years, it's considered kind of like a lifetime. So anyway, after the divorce, I separated and I was seeing someone, and they really liked what I was doing online and they wanted to help out. And I was like, are you sure? It's a gladiator pit out here. Black men particularly do not like the idea of Black women in interracial relationships. They like to remind them every chance they get that, nobody wants you. They only want us. And so you got to be careful around talking to people in social media about our relationship. And there are certain things that you just simply cannot say. And one of them is the N-word. And he says, of course. I would never say that. Are you crazy? I would never say that. And I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't, but I mean, just kind of, I'm just giving you a list of no's, don't talk about people's mama, don't, just like all the regular stuff, and prepared him for a little bit. And then, unbeknownst to me, one day I'm on a interview with some college professors talking about Black women's empowerment issues. Totally clueless, but my phone is blowing up. And I was like, what is going on? He's calling me. He's like, something's going on. And I'm like, what? What's going on? He just said, these guys tried to hem me into this. Anyway, so long story short, he's in a room with a bunch of Black guys who decided to host a room on Clubhouse. I don't know what the name was because I wasn't there. But the gist of it was the room was about interracial dating is good for Black men, not so good for Black women. And his dumb behind raised his hand. He was listening, raised his hand. They brought him up to the stage. Or I don't know if he raised his hand. Sometimes he invited. I don't know if he was invited or if he raised his hand. And I guess it went pretty good at first because they modded him up. See, this is how we do. We get you comfortable. We like, sit down. Yeah. You good? You comfy? You want a drink or something? Can I get you a glass of wine or something? Get comfortable. So that's what he did. And his ass got too comfortable. And one of the guys on the stage, a Black guy, his name is Julius. And I don't care. I'm saying his name. Julius. Blackity Black Julius was talking to him, and he I don't know exactly how it went. Again, I wasn't there. But the summary was that my guy said, listen, I'm in an interracial relationship with someone who I love and I want to marry. And I don't I don't co-sign the things that you were saying about Black women. Whatever flowery nice thing he said, right? And so Julius, just out of nowhere, I guess they'd asked him a question and maybe he didn't answer it quickly enough. Again, wasn't there. And Julius said, "Oh, so you are a hard ER lover." And my ex-dude was like, first of all, he couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe that it was a Black guy on the stage talking to him, saying this about another Black woman. He was so shocked. He did not know that we talked to each other like that. And so, befuddled and not really knowing how to respond, he said, "Listen, I love this girl. I want to marry this girl. And if that makes me an hard ER lover, then so be it. I will do that." And do you know that everybody, to this day, there'll probably be somebody in the chat who will say, her dude called her the N-word, which, put a 1 in the chat if that would be fair. Is that really what happened? Did he parade on Clubhouse and say, "Yeah, I'm with the pink pill and I'm a hard ER word lover"? Or was it just he walked into an ambush? But to this day, let everybody on the internet tell it. He was, he might as well had a hood on. That's not how it happened. But I can see how cultural misunderstandings like that can break up relationships, because it broke up mine. So there you go. There you go. And believe me, they were dancing around the fire for months. They loved the fact that they broke up that relationship, that they broke up my relationship. It is what it is. But yeah, I can see that being a problem. Let's keep going. "65% of interracial divorces report issues with extended family as a contributing factor." Okay, so the in-laws. 70% of interracial divorces report issues with societal acceptance as a contributing factor. See, I don't know. I mean, there was a recent study, I don't know, by some media company that said that about 94% of Americans approve of interracial marriage. And there was a huge jump. It was at 6% that approved like 50 years ago when they did the same poll. It was like 6%. And so today it's at 94%. So I don't know. I don't know if it's perception or actuality, or it could be just because I live in California and hell, everything goes here. Nobody's judging. Nobody judges anything in California. 55% of interracial divorces cite differences in religious beliefs as a contributing factor. 60% of interracial divorces report issues with work-life balance as a contributing factor. I mean, these kind of sound like regular, factors, except for like the cultural issues. I don't know. 75% of interracial divorces report issues with cultural identity as a contributing factor. 65% of interracial divorces report issues with cultural expectations as a contributing factor. 80% of interracial divorces report issues with cultural misunderstandings as a contributing factor. I feel like I've read this already. Here's a good one. Interracial couples who dated for more than 3 years before marriage have a 35% lower divorce rate. So what do you suppose that is? Well, they got more time to get used to things, get to know each other, have other people in their orbit get used to them together, and it maybe solidifies the commitment or not. So maybe 3 is the magic number. Interracial couples who met through mutual friends have a 25% lower divorce rate. Now, I can see why that could be, right? Because if you're meeting through friends, then you already know your friends approve, right? And not only do they approve, but they're going to support and going to provide a circle of support for you, because you guys are part of the gang, it's part of the group. Interracial couples who regularly attend religious services together have a 20% lower divorce rate. So y'all not going to church, your mama and your daddy were right. Couples who go to church together, stay together. Amen. Can I get an amen? I actually don't think that's that's wrong. I think that whatever the religion, if there's some kind of moral structure, there's some sort of community that you go to where they're supporting of your relationship and your union because it's biblical, you're going to have an easier time of it if you're not so isolated. So what it seems to me is that couples who are isolated, who don't have familial or friend support groups, or if they're not interested enough to learn or be empathetic or understanding of the other person's culture, then there's going to be problems. That makes common sense to me. Let's keep going. Interracial couples who engage in regular date nights have a 15% lower divorce rate. All right. So what is it? I actually wrote some of them down. So here, ladies, and gentlemen, for those of you who are interested in interracial relationships, it looks like if you meet through friends, go to church, go to date nights, communicate well, respect each other's culture, you have a pretty good chance of your marriage working. I mean, relationships take work, and you can't just show up like that. You're going to have to work. Interracial couples who live together before marriage have a 12% higher divorce rate. And that goes for regular couples as well. For some reason, when you live with a person before you marry, it increases your likelihood of divorce. Which is it's interesting. It's weird. Why is it? What's the psychology? So you guys move in together, but you guys didn't move in together with a lifelong commitment. And because that mentality wasn't in your mind, you were operating under like a roommate situation and weren't really practicing the actual mechanisms of a marriage. You just thought maybe you were going to go home and just after the wedding and just do what you did before. But maybe there's some sort of psychological dynamic about like entering a home and moving in a home where you guys are both moving in together and married as opposed to having had lived together. Interracial couples where both partners speak the same primary language have a 30% lower divorce rate. And that's for all you passport bros out there. I'm sorry. I have to do it. My mouth is starting to get dry. Hold on. Let me see what y'all talking about in the chat. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's to the passport bros. So you guys, I mean, seriously, it's it's not great news, but what I'm seeing here, if you look further in the data, it just looks like people need to learn how to be in relationships. It looks like people need to, um, develop friendship circles and circles of support. Sounds like people need to understand each other's culture and be sensitive to each other's culture and not be selfish and say my way or the highway. It sounds as if these interracial couples have children, they are committed to raising those children together. It looks like if you don't live with your interracial partner before you marry, you will have a 12% more likelihood to get married. Do you see where I'm going here? So yeah, it's bad, but these are behaviors that we can all adopt and change and massage so we can be better. Because I'm going to be honest with you guys right now. There's some more stats. But listen, we've got 3 generations of Black people right now who literally don't know how to do it. And when I say don't know how to do it, I mean don't know how to do relationships. I'm a Gen Z, and we're probably the last generation where the majority of our parents were married, and it was downhill from there. We were the catalyst for this terrible out of wedlock rate. We were latchkey kids, unsupervised, and going buck wild, locked and loaded, ready to have them babies. Under Generation X, we had the out of wedlock rate explode to over 70%. The teen pregnancy rate explode, all under our watch. And then you have the millennials that had to deal with our foolishness, half-raised babies. And then they half-raised, I mean, it's just millennials, then it's Gen Z, then it's Gen Alpha. These are 3 generations of Black people where the majority of the children in households aren't with parents who are actually married to each other. They're not actually married to their parents. So I'm not sure how people think we're supposed to know how to do this, or how young people, I'm not gonna say we, I'm out of it. How are young people supposed to know how to do this when they haven't seen it? How do you see what has not been modeled for you? You're going to have to learn how to do it yourself. Otherwise, you're going to be divorced. And so it looks like we have, we going to get on because I know y'all, Redfield, y'all going to be around the fire. Yeah. Negro wake up calls to all these bed winches. I know that's what is going to happen here, but quite honestly, the men's stats are not that good either, like slightly better. So it's like, yes, it's awful. We're just slightly less awful. That's not a flex. It's not a flex, right? I mean, for real. I know. People are like, you are too old to be a Gen Z. I'm not a Gen Z. I'm Gen X. You guys, I have got to get a drink of water. My throat and my mouth are so dry. So I'm going to put this overlay on that I figured out that was what was wrong. It was a human error. Give me 2 minutes, you guys. We got a lot to talk about. And what I'm going to do is put the link again. I'm going to pin it to the top. And if you guys want to come in and talk. Okay, that's enough of that. I'm back, and we have a guest,
Hello.
DJ Torch. Hi, DJ Torch. How are you
How you
doing?
doing? Can you hear me okay?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing excellent. Relaxed.
That's good. Me too. So, what do you think about these statistics?
Well, when you said interracial couples, that includes black men and black women dating
Everybody.
out. I mean, what black men dating out and black women dating out. Is that correct?
Yes, it's everybody. Asian, Hispanic, white, Native
Okay.
American.
I think if you were to, this is going to be sound like a weird argument, but I'm actually arguing for interracial marriage, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But I think the stats are very, very good for black women and Caucasian men. They were actually really good.
Mm,
Um,
explain.
well, I believe I don't know the stats exactly, but if you take only black women and their interracial marriages, they're a lot more successful than any other race of women, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So you're saying
So
that. Okay.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So you're saying that the marriages where black women are educated and cosmopolitan, worldly, they do well in those marriages to white men.
Well, I only know the stats that black women and white men, where the background of that black woman came from, that wasn't in the stats.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But
They.
but I would be led to believe they would be the best candidates.
Mm, well, there's still more from the stats, so we can get that. So, what's your general opinion of interracial marriage and Black women involved in uh, relationships with men other than Black? What's your position on that?
My position is they should. I mean, you're looking at black men are the lowest number of, at least the lowest major number of men in the United States. Why not want to increase your odds as a black woman? You can find love anywhere.
Mm-hmm. You
It's
say that
really a
from intuition.
personality thing more than a race thing, finding the right fit.
You said something interesting. You said it might be a personality thing. It
Yeah.
just might be because they talk a lot about what about culture? Do you think that the clashes of culture and maybe the way we raise our children is so diametrically opposite in some households that it's just incompatible?
No.
Like, do we beat our kids?
No.
I
No.
think we beat our kids too much. I'm gonna just be
No.
honest.
No,
Mhm.
I mean, it really, that's really more of a, it's not really a race thing. That's more of a cultural class thing.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes. Yes. And so you guys have to keep in mind that these interracial marriages, the stats are with rich, with poor, um, all combinations, educated, uneducated, and they're just lumping them together. And they're getting the statistics that the relationships that are lasting. So the 59%, 44%, because we're talking about Black people right now, what are the couples that are successful? What are they doing to stay successful? So I don't really want to focus on what the number 59%. I actually ran it through and listen. Um, if somebody in the audience, there's like 300 something people in here. If somebody in the audience has a link to a different study or something to counter indicate, or somebody who's a statistician can come in to give some different data, I'm certainly open to it. So it's, like it is what it is. I looked at, I'm going to go back to that page again. And when you look at their reference points, they're pretty legit. So I know people are going to want to push back on it, But instead of pushing back on it, like, it's not you though. It's not you. We're beginning to, like, these statistics are telling us something. They're saying if you get married and don't have kids and you're in an interracial marriage, you might be more likely to divorce. If you don't go to church and you're in an interracial marriage, you might get divorced. If you guys haven't figured out how to communicate and respect each other's culture, you might get divorced. Like, these are all things that people who are in interracial relationships can keep in mind and practice to do better so that doesn't happen to them. It's like, instead of like being all mopey about the idea that you can't, that we can't brag about that anymore, like, let's look at it and at what we can do, because again, 3 generations of not knowing how to do this. It stands to reason that neither one of us, men or women, Black men or Black women, who were raised in the same households, have the same parents or parent, like, not, there's not one gender, whether it's the men or the women, that magically is able to walk away from whatever issues and challenges that they faced without having something residual. In psychology, they call it fleas, right? So it's like, you could be around all this dysfunction, but you've got yourself together, you went to college, but you still got the fleas on you from the, traumatic experience or the cultural, you know what I'm saying? So you have to overcome it. So instead of you guys looking at this as some sort of a loss, look at it as a way that you can figure out how to do relationships better. Like, it's literally telling you what you can do to reduce the likelihood that your marriage won't turn out that way. I don't see it as all the way bad. What do you say, DJ Torch?
No, I completely agree with your observation. Again, I truly believe it has more to do with how much someone has in common with someone, which are some of the stats that you've stated. Then it has more to do with that than even race. Because think about it like this: think about a cultured African American woman who was brought up in a wealthy neighborhood, and what is her match going to be best for her? I mean, a dude, a man of the same color from the hood, or a man who might be it's the same color but has come from a wealthy family as well, or a white guy
They're
who's
more
come from a wealthy
compatible.
family as well.
Yeah, they will be more socially compatible than the guy from the hood. But
Right.
and again, I'm not one of those people of like forced togetherness. Like, don't try to like clump me in with like, oh, like we are all Black. No, I don't believe we're all, well, we are technically Black, but what I mean is that we're different, and
Mhm.
I'm okay with being different. I'm okay with speaking differently, thinking differently, having different interests. We're not all the same. But I do think that the majority of us at this point are ill prepared for relationships. And maybe this might be a wake up call that we might need to start doing better.
Mhm.
These are actual tips, you guys. If you read the statistics the way I'm reading them, it's really giving you a blueprint on not to get divorced. Like, you're looking at it as a fail, and I'm saying this is the blueprint on how not to get divorced. Somebody in the chat says that someone had a stat that it was 44%. That 44%, I think, is for the Black men who are intermarried to,
Yes.
yeah, they have a 44% divorce rate, and 44% higher divorce rate. And
Right. It's us. We're messing up the numbers.
I'm on
We're-
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're.
Yeah.
Um,
So you have to consider the dynamic. So let's also consider this dynamic. According to Ralph Richard Banks, he is the author of Is Marriage for White People? He stated that when Black men reach the threshold of 100,000, they are more likely to marry interracially than other other races.
Right.
They're also less likely to marry when they reach that threshold, when other races of men use that as, this is the, this was the signal for me to start shopping for engagement rings. So
Right.
if you think about very successful Black men, and they are men, and they're successful, and they're making money, and they're married to women, then it bears to assume that these women are they like their situation. They're being well taken care of, and they've got money. You know what I mean? So you got to consider that, right? So the men in that cohort for Black men in interracial marriage, they have more resources. And for women, it's about the resources, right? Like, we're hypergamous naturally, most of us. And so you find the guy who has the best deal. And if it's a white woman, she's going to be with that Black guy because he's got the best deal for her. He's successful. He's making tons of money. Why would she divorce? I don't know. And even if she does divorce, she going to get half the money. Anyway. Anything else you want to say, DJ? Before, I have a question for you. What do you DJ? What's your specialty?
Well, basically, I DJ R&B, soul. I'm up there in years, but no, I do EDM as well. But R&B and soul is what I do in the most. If I had to DJ, that's what I would do.
Very cool. And have you ever been in an interracial relationship?
Yeah.
How was it for you? Are you still in it?
No.
Oh.
It was a long time ago, like 15 years ago. And I wasn't even tripping. I wasn't thinking of it as an interracial relationship, but technically it was, because she was Latin and I was Black. But the way that she carried herself like an African American woman, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I can't really say it was completely.
Oh, it's like when Black women date Wiggers.
Yeah, exactly. You nailed it. Exactly that. So, yeah, I didn't think much of the race thing then. There was probably some cultural cues that I missed, of course.
Mm-hmm. Well, you sound like a nice guy, DJ. Thanks for stopping by. Thank you for giving your feedback. It was very encouraging, and it was enjoyable talking to you. Hope you'll come up again. And anybody else wants to come up, the invite is on the link. I saw somebody on the chat. Rose came into the studio for a minute and then she came out. But you're welcome to come out. Like LPs just said, like, what's the solution? Like, I just maybe play back a little bit because I actually did give a good solution. You can play it back. I don't want to repeat it right after I just said what I said. But let's go back to these stats. Okay. Did that one already. Interracial couples who report high levels of communication satisfaction have a 40% lower divorce rate. So let me make this clear. Okay, so you guys have asked me for solutions. Get your pencil and paper out, and I'm going to give it to you. I mean, it's right here. I mean, to me, it's very obvious, but I will go ahead and do that. So if interracial couples who report high levels of communication satisfaction have a 40% lower divorce rate, learn to be a good communicator. Learn to communicate. Learn to talk about your feelings. Learn to, use your words. See, that's a solution, right? See, there's a problem. I just gave a solution. I'll give some more. Interracial couples who regularly participate in each other's cultural traditions have a 25% lower divorce rate. Okay, so have Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. There, another solution for you. Interracial couples report high levels of relationship satisfaction, have a 50% lower divorce rate. Have a satisfying relationship, and you'll have a 50% less divorce rate. That's another solution for you. Interracial couples who have been married for more than 10 years have a 30% lower divorce rate. Okay, try to stretch it out for 10 years. You'll be golden if you can get past 9 years and 364 days. Okay? Interracial couples who report high levels of mutual respect have a 45% lower divorce rate. Respect your partner. Like, this is basic stuff. Like, if you look at it, it's like, respect your partner, be interested in them, be a good communicator, care about, like, are y'all not seeing this the way I'm seeing it? Interracial couples who regularly seek relationship counseling have 25% lower divorce rate. Get some counseling if you need it. Don't wait. Don't wait until you're so pissed. Do it at the first sign. Seriously. The reason why a lot of relationship counseling doesn't work is because by the time people do it, they're so pissed, they don't even want to do it. So when it just starts being a little tickle in the back of your throat, you know how when you're about to get a cold, you get those little symptoms, little tickle in your throat. You're like, you sniffing, you like, you know what's going on. But you have that little window when you can use Zicam. And you use that Zicam, you won't get a cold. But you have to know what the symptoms are. For those of you who use Zicam will know exactly what I'm talking about. Interracial couples who report high levels of cultural competence have 35% lower divorce rate. I'm not sure what cultural competence in this sense refers to, but okay, be competent in your culture, and then you'll have a 35% lower divorce rate. Interracial couples who share similar political views have a 20% lower divorce rate. No brainer there. All right, if you both like Kamala, you have a 20% lower divorce rate. If you both like Trump, same deal. Interracial marriages where both partners are fluent in each other's native language have a 40% lower divorce rate. That's cultural sensitivity, empathy, and interest in the other person. Interracial couples who report high levels of intimacy have a 30% lower divorce rate. Be intimate, and that's not just about the ex, right? Intimacy is also sharing, being vulnerable with a person, telling them what you need, feeling safe to do that, being safe to say, I'm scared about something, I'm nervous about something, asking for help if you need it. Intimacy is more than just the ex, okay? Interracial couples who regularly engage in cultural exchange activities have a 25% lower divorce rate. That means, again, be interested in the other person. I remember I was in Toronto and there was some kind of Caribbean salsa festival. Oh my gosh, it was so fun. And it was like everybody there was doing the salsa. It was all kinds of people, white, black. I mean, it was so beautiful. And I saw a ton of interracial couples there. And it was so cute to see the little black Afro-Latina women with their dance partners just like swinging. It was fantastic. So doing stuff like that together is gonna help. Right? Sorry, I didn't know my camera's off, but you still see what it says. Interracial couples who report high levels of trust have a 40% lower divorce rate. Be trustworthy, right? You guys wanted solutions, I'm gonna give it to you. Interracial couples who regularly participate in multicultural community events have a 20% lower divorce rate. Okay, this is getting redundant at this point. Interracial couples who report high levels of emotional support have 35% lower divorce rate. Get your circle of support. Get your friends. Get rid of those friends who do not support your relationship. Just get rid of them. And if you can't get rid of your family, at least keep them at a very a very long distance away. I don't believe in people sacrificing love and relationship for some bitter person who wants you to be unhappy and alone. What stake do they have in that? You know, more often than not, the worst of these people are so miserable themselves, they don't have any moral authority to judge your relationship when you look at theirs, which is usually trash, right? So stay away from those people as best you can. Interracial marriages where both partners have similar levels of cultural identity have a 30% lower divorce rate. Interracial couples who regularly engage in open discussions about race and culture have a 25% lower divorce rate. Okay, so if you feel open and able to talk about racial differences, and here's the thing, you men who are interested in dating and marrying interracially, listen, you can't just, especially, I'm a single, y'all white dudes out. Like, you can't have this arrogance of like, just come into my lands and all will be well. But you have to, adopt every whitey white thing. And I don't want to know nothing about your blackity black stuff. Like, just imagine how that would feel if it was the other way around and you were coming into our space and we were saying, okay, welcome to my lands. You have to do everything blackity blackity black. None of that white people shit over here. You would feel like you're in a cage. So, allow for people to be who they are. If you don't like how they are, don't marry them. Interracial couples who report high levels of conflict resolution skills have a 40% lower divorce rate. Learn how to fight fair. Interracial couples who report high levels of cultural sensitivity. Another redundant. This is redundant as well. Jesus. Oh, okay, here's one. Interracial couples with higher education levels have a 20% lower divorce rate. Okay, get yourself an educated person. You'll have a less likely to divorce. Interracial couples with a household income of $75,000 have a 30% lower divorce rate. All right. So these are your perimeters right here. Like if I were you guys right now, and if I were looking, I would be writing all these things down. I would go through each statistic. There's like over 50, and I would do the opposite of the thing that it's saying that's causing the divorce. I would be working on myself, and I would also be commissioning the person that I'm seeing to be working for them to be working on themselves and say, look, this is the blueprint. Because if we do the opposite of this, we have a very good chance of our relationship surviving, right? Right. Interracial couples living in urban areas have a 15% lower divorce rate than those in rural areas. That makes sense, I think. That makes sense. Sorry, I'm just checking the chat for a little bit. I don't know. I'm kind of scared. I feel like some Black women in this space are going to be angry that I'm reporting on this. I don't know why. It's not like nobody was not going to see this. Interracial couples who married after age 30 have a 24% lower divorce rate. All right. So wait a little longer. Interracial couples who report high levels of social support have a 35% lower divorce rate. It's what I've been saying. Social support, very, very important. Interracial marriages where both partners have similar education levels. See, I swear, God, that was just okay. I'm done. You guys get the gist, right? You guys get the gist. Because right, well, at this point, it's just they keep kind of repeating things. But like I said, instead of being upset about the data, and please don't kill the messenger. Like I'm just the messenger right now. Okay. And here's the thing too. I want to say this. For those who may be tempted to dance around the fire and say, see, Black women, you just need to stay where you are because your interracial marriages don't last, da, 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 da. Here's the deal. Like, in our community, do you know what our rate is? Do you know what Black women's marriage rate in our community is? With the knowledge that the majority of us are not seeking interracial relationships. What I'm about to tell you, the majority of us are not. Most Black women are not seeking interracial relationships. They are about 12, maybe 15% at this point. It was 12% back in 2015. I suspect it's ticked up quite a bit since then because it's almost been 10 years. And if anybody's tempted to say you should just stay with your own people, you'll have a better chance of staying married, I got news for you. Only 26% of Black women in this country right now are married. Drops the mic. And only 33% of Black men are married. Drop the mic. We clearly don't know how to do relationships, y'all, whether it's within our culture or outside our culture. I'm going to give you some stats. Let me know if you guys want me to give you these because my mouth is getting dry, but I can still go. Yeah, you heard me right. Here's go. Here's the summary. I love ChatGPT. Her name is Sophia. Watch. Hi, Sophia. It's Crystalline. How are you? It's taking too long.
Hello. How can I assist you today?
Sophia, can you please give me the marriage rates for Black Americans? Please use the latest census data. All data should be recognized as legitimate. What are the marriage rates for Black men and women in the United States?
To provide you with the most accurate and up-to-date information.
Okay, she tripping. My internet's been tripping today, but I already asked this question before. And here's what she said. Here's a summary of marriage and divorce statistics. I was just hoping I wouldn't have to say it because I have cotton mouth. It's marriage rates, overall marriage rates. As of recent data, approximately 29% of Black Americans were married. Only 29% of Black people in the entire United States are married right now. Compared to 48% of all US. The rate has declined over the decades. In 1970, 60% of Black adults were married. Marriage by gender. Black men are slightly more likely to be married than Black women. About 33% of Black men are currently married, compared to 26% of Black women. My stomach hurts. Yo, wherever we go, there we are. Do you get what I'm saying here? Wherever we go, meaning we, the men and the women, there we are. We're not making it work in our own community either. Like, we're probably doing maybe slightly better in interracial marriages at this point. So I don't know. Like, there's been too much, like, this whole thing of like fragmented families that we never thought it was a big deal. clearly it's a big deal. Clearly, I mean, like, look at it. Look, nobody's doing worse than us. Like, nobody. So it's like, I really want these, if I want to just conclude here, I really want these marriage conversations to evolve. Okay. I am quite frankly sick and rather bored of the gender war conversations. Like, you guys, it's been like 14 years. It's boring. And it's a new generation of people, and it's boring at this point. Nobody's winning here. Like, nobody can hold a W in this. Like, Black men cannot hold a W. If they want to say they're slightly less as bad as we are, okay, W for you. That 33% of you are married. Woohoo! That's still terrible. It's still less than like 50%. That's abysmal. If you got 33% on a test, you wouldn't go to the next grade. So can we stop with, oh, somebody's coming up. Hi, Kay. Do you have something to say? Hi.
Yeah, hi, Crystal. Can you hear me?
Yes, hi.
Oh, hi. Yes. Thank you for doing this study because I'm a person, I'm like you, I like to know the truth and to deal with it rather than being, kind of fluffed up, basically. So that stat
Yeah,
that we don't
I feel like people want to be gassed up. I mean, I was looking at the chat and glancing at it. People are angry that I'm even bringing it to my channel. Like the ignorance is profound. Like, you think that if you don't see it, it will disappear?
Exactly. And therein is a rub because if we don't see it, then it's only going to get worse. So why don't we see it now? Like you said, we can take the Zycam for it now, start to work on ourselves and work on things, and then make it better rather than leaving it to nothing and letting it become the flu and we're all dead. You know what I mean? Like
exactly. It's like, girl, take that Zycam.
Right, exactly. That's how you and I think a lot alike. I think that's why I like you, right? And so, I had my issues with the other stat that said that we were so much better in marriage than anyone. I did not believe it, but I'm like, there's something missing, right? And maybe in studying this, well, things that you showed me, the things that you were saying, they make sense to me, right? And so like we have the whole truth now, because on some levels we may be better at relationships with other men than their women or whatever, but we have to take other things into consideration so that we don't get to the point where we stop working and stop moving forward, right? That's what I don't want for Black women, because if we do, then we're going to end up in a situation where we don't have choices, and I don't want that for us.
Right. So, like, please, let me just put out this disclaimer now, because, like, this is a crazy place. No, Crystalline Cares and Pink Pill is not saying, oh, interracial relationships don't work, and she wants you to go running back to Black men. Listen, neither one of us, they ain't doing it right either. Black men are like doing it wrong too. So nobody is clean in this. Okay. I just wanted to do real quick, and then I'll let you guys keep talking, because people wanted to know about the study and the source. It's called Get Nuts. Oh my God, what a weird. But these are the references, and those look pretty legit to me. Yeah, I actually use some of these for my own research. So if they're using these, and then also on the site, if you go to the top, I don't know where. Oh, it says right here, Business Insider, BBC, Yahoo. I can't read that one. The Guardian and Investpedia all use their data. So, I mean, if the BBC and Business Insider is using their data, I'm going to say that they probably have a good reputation, right? I can't say, nobody can say definitively if anything is true. It's just that, those sources are legit. And as you can see right there. Okay, so we can continue now. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, what I want to say, add on to what you were saying, is that I don't think that this is a reason for Black women to run back to the Black community and try to fix it. I feel like for me, anyway, I don't care. I'm not saying what you should or shouldn't do, but for me, that's gone. But what it does say is that now I really am a sovereign person, and I have these resources that can help me to move forward. Right? Not in my relationships, yeah, but not only in my relationships. Right? In every aspect of my life. Right? We see the ways the world is going, and within that, for me, I always felt like whatever happens, I always have a choice, and I have to make the choices that are best for me personally, and go from there, right? And I feel like if Black women did that more, then we'd be able to come together easier and to make things better for more of us, basically. So
Right. And we also just like we need to figure out how to do relationships.
yeah,
We have to. We have
right,
to figure out like where is the shame in that? We're not perfect.
yeah,
Um we have the fleas of the
hmm,
traumas and all the other things. We grew up in the same environments the men did. Why
hmm,
why on earth would we think that might not be affected by it? Because right now
exactly,
ain't nobody winning. Like you're not winning as a Black woman being married to a Black man or trying to be, or
hmm,
I think actually your chances are maybe even big as far as getting married. I'm still gonna say other races of men are probably more open to it. Um,
hmm.
there's a variety of reasons for it, but I still do believe that. Um, we got Deja and we got Brianna up here.
Hello.
Can I say
Hi,
one more thing?
Hi,
One more
Crystal.
thing. Can I say
hi.
one more thing? Oh,
Hello.
yeah, I just want to say one more thing. I'm
Okay.
still concerned though about things like Black femicide and the violence against us too. That still is committed mostly by Black men.
Oh,
Um,
yes. Oh, yes. I
it
have
may,
something to say about this too. It's
yeah,
mostly intra-racial.
yeah. I mean, maybe because of proximity or whatever. I don't care, but we know that we're not. We've never been protected or safe with Black men, so we have to face that reality. And like I said, figure out how to maneuver and do what's best for us. So.
Yes.
Yep.
Because I've had my own experiences because I'm currently engaged to a non-black man and I get along with his family very well. So by my own experiences, yeah, again, based on my own experiences, I personally prefer dating out because of my own experiences. I dated my fiance since high school.
Wow. So let's do this real quick. This exercise. So since high school, how many years has that been?
Right now, I'm currently turning 34 in December. So
Wow.
17.
You wait, girl, you've been with him for 17 years and you just now getting married. What happened? What's going on?
Oh
Did you
no,
get like a
we were
PhD?
engaged. We
What?
were engaged in 2017, but due to COVID, our
Mhm.
marriage has been postponed. So right
Okay.
now, a lot of things have been happening, personal reasons.
Okay. Okay. Well, congratulations on your engagement, and you definitely have had a whole lot of time to get to know your partner, and your partner to get to know you.
Yes, thank you very much.
And were you the first Black girl he dated? And how did his parents and everything receive you?
Yes, I was actually the first black girl he dated, but at first it was kind of shaky. But when they get to know me a little more, they opened up.
Okay. 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 And how is the relationship now? Like, are
It's
they,
going well,
yeah,
going
like,
strong.
right? So your mother-in-law or future mother-in-law is like,
Mm-hmm.
let's go for wedding dresses. Let's go,
Yeah,
my
unfortunately,
grandbabies.
unfortunately, she passed away.
Oh,
Unfortunately,
I'm sorry to hear that. I'm
yeah,
sorry to hear that.
it's okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, but her dying words are that she cares about me, like wants us to be together, look out for each other.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So, what do you think is it about your relationship that made it so successful that you guys been together for 17 years? Like you guys have literally only been with each other. So,
Yes,
what do you think the secret is? Like clearly you know how to be in a relationship.
yes. Because I have to learn myself too. Because I sometimes kind of struggle because I have a strong personality. Because I have a strong personality. Because sometimes like a strong willed, like I don't take any nonsense from anyone. So
Hmm.
like he understands. he knows because I don't share my boundaries with anyone, not even him. But he kind of gets like implications if he messes up. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Wait, well, here's the thing. Just give a little advice from
Oh, yeah, like I say, like stick. I say
Lord.
for ladies, I said it in the comments in the general chat. Like, may the best man win. Stick to whoever treats you right. Don't fall for superficial things like height or like features, like any like physical features. Like a lot of women tend to fall for, but
Mm-hmm.
it's whoever treats you right. Don't fall for
Yeah.
because we're not men. Because we're the ideal type, quote.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's like, I mean, seriously, when it comes down to it, you want a partner that you're compatible with, who's going to be
Yes.
there when you need them, and that you're willing to be there for when they need you. Um,
Yes.
and
Exactly.
and if you can't have that, you don't have anything. You won't be able to get along with any race of man.
Yes. Yet
Mm-hmm.
that you must understand that a man is a man regardless of race.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. I mean, and there are cultural things that differ from, group to group, which is why we're talking about it. Like for
Yes.
me, I'm going to be honest that uh, I think culturally, I don't really have much trouble sort of integrating myself into um, a white family. I've been doing
Yes.
my whole adult life. It's like nothing. It's like maybe at first it was like, oh my gosh, but it becomes just a part of this is just how it is, I was also raised in a white neighborhood. So
Yes.
culturally speaking, I have more in common culturally with sort of mainstream quote unquote white society as opposed to black society because it's mainly black people who don't seem to be okay with me just being myself, whereas I feel like people of other races seem to be okay with me being myself, and so I'm going where
Oh,
love is, and even with friendships,
yes.
I go where the love is.
Yes. I have a similar situation as you do. Like I'm more like my values more aligned with a lot with Asians than blacks because I think my values because I value marriage more and also like families like family structure and also in high school because I hang out with 90% Asians. However, because when I was in high school, I was
Is your
called
guy
like
Asian?
Oreo.
Is your guy Asian?
Yes, he is.
Oh, y'all ain't never getting divorced.
Yeah.
Ah.
Oh yeah. As I was saying, because in high school, because we were like in a classroom together on like off class hours, this one black guy called me an Oreo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been told that my whole life. So
I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one. I know
yeah,
it.
no, I mean, it's like I said, we Oreos. Listen, y'all, it's so funny because it'll be the Oreos that they made fun of, but then when we get to be fair, it goes to the black guys too. The black Oreos, it's like we get made
Yes.
fun of through high school, and we go with the people who like us, and then folks want to complain because we went with the people who liked us. I don't know.
Yes. I stick to this group, like the people who accept me. I go when I'm appreciated, not tolerated.
Exactly. Go where you're celebrated, not tolerated. And Brianna, good on you, girl.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you for coming up. Deja, did you
Yeah,
mhm.
I definitely agree. I just feel like it all makes sense being that, and I want to say I love you, Pink Pill. I love you, Crystalline.
Aw, thank
Um,
you.
sorry for your loss, Brianna, and your fiance's loss.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Definitely. But I just want to say it kind of just makes sense. It translates being that like we thrive in the workforce, which is definitely multicultural. And so it just makes sense that we're like easily able to integrate with like any culture that we feel like, like aligns with our views and beliefs. Because just at the end of the day, it's not like obviously we're going to get called whatever we get called. It has nothing to do with Oreo, with code switching. It's just like in any space we have our own values and we can pretty much align with any space. And I know you said integrate, but integrate really with any space. So that's why I feel like you're able to easily integrate into white families, because truly, I mean, that's truly our experience in the workforce. That's truly our experience in college. That's truly our experience, you know, wherever we have to where we have to thrive to be able to become like better developed ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing, like, it doesn't hurt to be better, and it does, and it's no shame in saying we as a community as a whole, we have work to do in terms of relationships. We are very poor at it. That is clear. And I'm going to say it because it is true. I'm not going to sugarcoat things anymore. I feel so free now that I've divested from things that don't serve me, to where my mouth has been unmuzzled and I can say what I need to say. And the fact of the matter is that um, Black women, we don't come out perfect. We
Yes,
have a lot of issues.
exactly.
And the thing is that we think that because of the behaviors that we see the men do and the fact that we don't practice it, we don't think that we have any issues. We have the same issues. It just looks different.
Oh, yes.
It just looks different in us than it does with them. It does
Exactly.
not mean that. I'm gonna give you an example of like this gender war, complete hypocrisy, makes no sense, completely delusional, and doesn't work. And I'm gonna do it for both sides, and I'm gonna say this is why, like, these gender war discussions are so stupid. They become so
Oh, yes.
extreme. So here's an example. So on the guy side, you know, Black men are like, you know, if I'm gonna marry a woman, she needs to like work as much as me, 40 hours, but she needs to be submissive, and she needs to, you know, cook for me, clean for me, take care of these kids, you know, and if I'm horny at 3 a.m., she better get up and be ready. Um,
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like this is what they're thinking, because like literally almost no one can be a single head of a household and support a whole family when the average home price is $422,000. That is
oh,
for
yes.
everybody, even in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yes. I have something to say about this. I live in California, and
I
the
do
housing
too.
prices is so skyrocketing bad. Especially in
Yes,
San Francisco, $2 million
yes, for a hovel, a hovel.
house for
My
like,
house right now was worth 400 and something when I moved in. Now this thing is probably like 800, 900 something.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, because my grandmother's house, because she had it since the 70s, and now it's like going like $900,000, a
Right,
million.
right. So here's the deal. There are things that are outside of our control that preclude this traditional relationship that they keep trying to push down women's throats. The average salary for everybody monthly is $4,700. The average mortgage on a $422,000 house is $2,700. So I'm not really good in math. If somebody in the chat wants to subtract 4,700 from 2,700 and then add and multiply an extra person and 2 or 3 extra kids, and you tell me if that's possible.
Oh no, with the 4,700 and 2,700, that's $2,000. That's like hardly anything.
Exactly. What? No, life insurance, health
Oh,
insurance,
oh
groceries,
yeah,
gas,
that's.
kids,
Oh no,
sports, vacation. What? Are you kidding me? It's
hardly
not
anything.
feasible. We should just stop talking. Like, just stop talking, you guys, about being the head of household. These are things that are out of your control, right? Unless you are at the
Yes.
higher level of salary, these are out of your control. So you expecting, because you need your woman to work so that we can all survive here, but your attitude of that she needs to be submissive and do what you say and lick the floor when she cleans it and all of these other ridiculous things doesn't work. But on the flip side, okay, um I've been watching Us and the stupid, crazy stuff they're saying. I remember looking at a comment from somebody under a video. This girl said, "Forget dating millionaires. I'm dating billionaires." And girl had the nerve to spell billionaires wrong.
Oh my gosh.
I love the
Here's the thing.
delusion. The delusion is real, and
Here's the
insane.
thing. There's a lot of women who expect to date a millionaire, but their development is arrested.
Yes. But then I've also been, when I was dating, I'm not dating anymore. I'm in a committed relationship that's leading to marriage. But when I was dating, I remember going out with one guy and he was like, you know, you're the second Black woman I dated this week. But I kind of hesitated at first. And I was like, why? And he said, well, the first date, she asked me for $1,500 to pay her rent. So yeah, there's a lot of delusion happening on both sides. This shit is embarrassing out here. And I'm so glad I can get to say it. I'm so glad I can say it because I have burned all my bridges and I can say it. That's some stupid delusional bullshit. It's not working. So here's the thing. It's like we all need to work on relationships. We all do. Clearly, it's a problem. I believe that the problem has gotten so big that like money should be put into it, like grants, like the government should be like, here, take some money and like start a, you know, I don't know, some kind of something to teach these Black kids. Because here's the thing, you guys, if you think it's bad right now, let me tell you how bad it could get. Understand this, Gen Z, these are the kids that were born 2000 and beyond. Thank God my kid missed it by a year, my youngest. These kids, on average, have 2 IQ points lower than the rest of us generations. Lower. They have terrible attention spans. The teachers are quitting left and right because they're so disrespectful. They have no social skills. They are not able to problem solve. They have all the information in the world, more information than we ever had. Like, are you kidding me? When I had to do research, hey, I'm gonna mute you because there's some feedback on you. When I was in college, I went to Loyola and I remember having to drive to UCLA across town to go to their library because it was better. And I'd be there all day. And like, you have the information in front of you, right there in front of you. And they don't know how to research. Are you kidding me? These are our future, is the largest cohort of children coming up in this generation. And I'm sorry, I don't want to be part of contributing to the confusion of kids who already have trouble with deductive reasoning, critical thinking, reading, math, and social skills. I'm not gonna do that. Okay, I'm gonna say this. For those of you who do that, who are making your money off of clicks for cash, where you're giving these kids outrageous advice that you know damn well doesn't work, you just want to go viral, like that's on you. But these kids literally have nobody to look to, especially Black kids. They have nobody. And they're looking for somebody to tell them the right thing. And then when they come online and they see all this crap, what are they supposed to believe? But understand this, if you corrupt them, understand that they will one day you may need them to change your diapers. And they have no social skills. They're not polite, they're rude, they have short attention spans. Do you want somebody like that taking care of you? Do you want somebody like that running your daycare center where your kid is? Like, let's think about it. Like, I'm not willing to do it. I'm not willing to bullshit online anymore. It's not the right thing to do. because these kids are 14. We got a good 4 years and it could be complete chaos. I'm just not willing to participate. So I have completely, I've completely excommunicated myself away from that kind of rhetoric. And if, like, my current followers, if my change is too much for you, I will understand, and you can go somewhere else where you can still be in gender war stuff. But like, literally, we are both the problem. The men are the problem, and we are the problem. We are both the problem. What do you guys say to that? Why is that so hard for us to say?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I mean, I work in a middle school part-time, and it is scary. Those kids live on their cell phones. They have absolutely zero social skills. I work with special needs kids, and the quote unquote regular kids are worse socially than the special needs kids. It's like they're on the same level. There is no difference. And it scares me. I try to talk to them, the ones I'm involved with. I try to do something, but I only have so much power in these kids' lives. And it scares me to death that these are kids who are going to one day be running the schools, be running the businesses, but be running everything else. That is scary to
Yeah.
me.
Have you guys seen that movie Idiocracy? Like,
Yes,
I just saw it and I'm like,
we're there.
that's the future. You
We're
guys,
there.
that's the
I'm
future.
sorry.
Oh, I
Yeah.
heard so just irrational and ignorant. I couldn't even give it attention.
So bad, but I finally made myself watch it, and I was like, oh my God, this is us. This is
Yes.
us. This will be us.
This is it. We're
And
there.
so it's like, is this how you want the, like, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm 51 and I'm like, you know, is this what we want for kids who in 4 years will be adults and they're dumber than us? They
Right.
can't think critically. They're coming online to get advice about relationships.
Yeah.
What is most of the stuff we see that goes viral about relationships? Absolutely,
Yes.
absolute trash that doesn't
Mhm.
work. Like, listen, all of these outrageous things, where are the success stories? All this outrageous advice, um, be mean to the millionaire, be snotty, and he'll love you. Or, treat her, sleep with 1,000 women before you pick your wife. Like, how is that working out? It's not. It's just clickbait stuff and imaginary navel gazing fantasy, reenactments of like your weird porn fantasy or something. It's so sick, and it doesn't even work in real life. And we have people who are too young to have any discernment and are and who have not seen, especially in our community, generation after generation after generation of fractured families. They don't know how to do it. They don't. Hell, we don't know how to do it. I just don't want to participate in making it worse. Okay? I'm just not. So yeah, you guys,
Can I say
there's,
something else? Oh, I'm sorry.
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, 'cause what you were saying about them not being able to research, that's funny because earlier today, I was trying to figure out the facts of something. I forget what I was looking up. I was thinking about the history of something, and that's like exactly what I thought. I'm like, I don't have to run to a library, 10 miles away that may be closed. I can just click on my phone and research whatever information I wanted. At the tip of our fingers, we have all the information in the world. We know how to use it because we were trained to do it the old-fashioned way. But this generation, they don't know how to get any information at all, and
Yeah.
it's freaky because how are they going to learn? How are they going to learn to think critically? How are they going to learn to research what's true now? How are they going to?
They don't.
Not, and that is
They
not a people that I want to be ruled by. I'm sorry.
Exactly. But listen, these are your rulers. These are the future rulers.
Exactly.
So you guys, I've been doing some deep dive research on a lot of things about like what makes us us and why we are where we are. And I think this is a good time to show you guys a video that I released yesterday. It's 9 minutes. I'm going to play the video because everybody in here we'll be able to get something out of it. And then after that, we'll close. But I'm gonna play it because I don't think a lot of you guys saw it yet. And if you resonate with it, I would love for you to share it. Because I wanted you guys to hear what what's his name said. That was a movie clip.
I don't give a damn what y'all say. Ain't nothing natural about no monogamy.
You know what? You can do both of us a real big favor. Just come over to my crib and get your shit.
Stop.
I have to admit, I have a rather unhealthy addiction to social audio apps, especially after the pandemic. Lots of arguing going on, but sometimes the conversations about relationships on the Black side of these platforms can get my mind to start thinking about why the young people of the Black community, my community, struggle so much with figuring out how to do life. I've noticed for a long time that the men in particular are the most reluctant out of all races of men to marry, especially the really successful so-called high-value ones. In fact, according to Professor Ralph Richard Banks, author of Is Marriage for White People, reports that when Black men reach the magic salary threshold of $100,000 or more, they are less likely to marry, when men of other races in that cohort are more likely to start shopping for engagement rings once they get there. Black women aren't off the hook either, with many increasingly opting to remain single and die with a cat named Bear. But honestly, can we blame them? I'm unfortunately part of the generation of latchkey kids who became teens and young adults locked and loaded to go buck wild when mom and dad were away. Under our watch, the out-of-wedlock rate in the Black community soared to over 70%. So did the teen pregnancy rate. We now have 3 generations of a large group of us never seeing anyone actually married to their actual parents. This, of course, is bound to cause some chaos in relationships, and I can't really blame these kids for wanting to avoid them altogether. So I decided that I was going to do some digging and found a very interesting study about Black college students and attachment styles. The researchers concluded that there's a very disturbing amount of kids that they questioned had avoidant attachment, and specifically dismissive avoidant. We'll talk about that more later. The article, published in the International Journal of Psychological Studies, found that African American college students are more likely to exhibit avoidant attachment styles compared to their peers from other ethnic groups. This means that many young Black adults may struggle with emotional closeness, trust, and intimacy in their relationships. This is especially concerning when we consider the broader context of our community: high rates of out-of-wedlock births, and a majority of Black households headed by single parents. Now, before we go any further, let me explain what attachment theory is from the best of my non-degreed ability. Attachment styles are the emotional bonds we form with others, and they are shaped by our earliest experiences, primarily with our parents or caregivers. These styles include secure, avoidant, anxious, and dismissing avoidant attachments. Ideally, you want secure attachment. That's what we want: a healthy balance of independence and closeness in relationships. So picture this: you're a toddler of a single parent who has to do double duty as a provider and nurturer, which is exhausting and stressful. They drop you off at daycare at 7 a.m., doesn't come back until almost 7 at night. But you're 4. You have needs. Sure, you're well fed, clothed, and housed, but the emotional needs you have after your caregiver has been working for 12 hours might not be to your satisfaction. After an extended period of time, you realize that you're on your own. And in that department, you just better figure it out for yourself and depend on yourself. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how a needy toddler becomes a college student with avoidant attachment. Now think about how huge our out-of-wedlock rate is and and how it's the coal fueling the runaway train. This means that they may struggle with intimacy, find it difficult to trust others, and often prefer to be emotionally distant.
Ah, my little darling, it is love at first sight, is it not? No? Do not come with me to the Casbah. We shall make beautiful music together right here.
Unfortunately, this avoidant attachment can carry into adulthood, affecting how they form and maintain romantic relationships. When we connect the dots, it becomes clear that these early attachment issues might be a significant factor in the lower marriage rates we're seeing in our community. If you don't feel comfortable depending on someone or letting them depend on you, how can you build a lasting partnership? How can you trust and love if you've been conditioned to avoid it?
My mom died when I was 3. My dad left the day after my 5th birthday, and somehow I knew I'd never see him again.
In our community, where so many children are raised by single parents, the risk of developing an avoidant attachment style increases. Single parents often have to juggle multiple roles, and while they do the best they can, the lack of consistent two-parent presence can sometimes lead to emotional gaps. These gaps may translate into attachment issues that follow children into adulthood. Now back to the study. At almost half, 45.7% of the 129 student respondents had avoidant style. But it gets even worse. Of that category, 24% of that group were identified as dismissive avoidant. I decided to look up how bad that actually was. And here's what dismissive avoidance entails. And let me know if you recognize your boyfriend or your girlfriend or maybe yourself. Emotional distance. People with dismissive avoidant attachment style often keep emotional distance in relationships. They may struggle to express their feelings or avoid discussing.
I unmuted on purpose because I want to make sure that you guys listen to what the indicators are and see if possibly, maybe, you don't have to tell us. Nobody has to know. But if you see yourself in it, you might want to address it.
Emotions altogether. They can create barriers to forming deep, meaningful connections with others. Independence and self-reliance. These individuals value their independence highly and often see relying on others as a sign of weakness. They might avoid asking for help, even if it's needed, and prefer to handle things on their own. Avoidance of intimacy. Dismissive avoidants tend to be uncomfortable with too much closeness or emotional dependency in relationships. They might pull away when relationships start to become more intimate or serious as they fear losing their autonomy. Downplaying the importance of relationships. This attachment style is associated with downplaying the significance of relationships. Dismissive avoidants might convince themselves that they don't need close relationships or that they are not important, which can lead to superficial or short-term connections. Positive self-view and negative view of others. This one really surprised me. People with dismissive avoidant attachment often have a positive view of themselves, but a negative or distrustful view of others. They may believe that others are unreliable or that relationships are burdensome. Difficulty with commitment. Due to their discomfort with closeness, individuals with this attachment style may have difficulty committing to long-term relationships. They might be more likely to avoid commitment altogether or to leave relationships when they start to demand more emotional involvement. Impact on relationships. In romantic relationships, dismissive avoidants might seem aloof or emotionally unavailable. Their partners might feel neglected or unimportant, leading to conflicts or dissatisfaction. Over time, this attachment style can contribute to difficulties in maintaining long-term stable relationships. But now, before you single mother-hating folks come in here and think that this is an attack solely on Black women, understand how biology works. She can't make a baby without you giving her a very special ingredient, And honestly, blaming single moms is played out, you guys. It is what it is. So now we just have to figure out what we're going to do about it. So, Pinkies, what do you think? Have you ever heard of the connection between attachment styles and our poor relationship outcomes?
Yeah, so that's it. What did you guys think in the chat?
Oh, I also typed in the personal chat that I could have avoided attachment style when I was in high school because I was bullied in junior high.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of different factors, but dismissive, avoidant attachment happens a lot when we're young. So think about it. 3 generations. Like, I want you guys to understand how devastating this is. 3 generations with one parent. Think of how many avoidant people that produces. And then you look at our marriage numbers. This is a correlation. Low marriage numbers, and then a high at least. So you've got these 129 college students, and of that sample size, almost 50% are avoidant, and 20% of them are dismissive avoidant. But you know what else? Like when you listen to these like red pill guys, they are all of those things. Like, think about all the messaging that they have about relationships. Like, they are imposing their dismissive, avoidant attachment dysfunction on everybody else. The way that they diminish the importance of relationships. Marriage is not beneficial to men. All women are whores. Like all of that stuff. All men are tricks. You know what I mean? Like, these are people who have the mic that have dismissive attachment styles, dismissive avoidant. Like, I'm not a psychologist, so I can't be going around diagnosing everybody. But once I looked at what those indicators are, it mirrors that. So you have a bunch of avoidant people on both ends giving relationship advice. What kind of relationship advice do you think an avoidant person is going to give you? What do you think? Not good one. Deja,
No.
that's how you got off mute. Deja, you went off mute?
Oh yeah, why was I definitely what you're saying I feel like correlates what I was typing in the chat. I mean, obviously I'm not an expert or anything. I just feel like I believe that a lot of attachment styles, or a lot of the attachment styles that are negative and the ones described in the video, I feel that unfortunately they're like reactive and or in reaction to. I believe that individuals that truly think for themselves and are less impressionable can be more balanced in general. Like, they can truly avoid like these habits and things that are like negative and then projected onto others.
Yeah. I'm putting the link to the video in the chat. Pass it along to somebody else who you think might need to watch it.
Because what are those movies? Because I don't watch any of those triggersome movies with the horrible tropes and whatnot. But I was interested. What movies were those?
Oh, they were the one with Common and Queen Latifah. You guys, I forgot the name of it.
I think I've seen that one. I was thinking of the one with Robin Thicke's ex.
Yeah, that was the one with Latifah.
Just Right. Just Right.
That was Just Right. Okay, I gotta rewatch.
Yeah, that was Just Right. And the one with the guy, I forgot the actor's name. It was Best Man.
Oh, okay.
Because I believe that was Taye Diggs and Morris Chestnut.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. And I had a scene clip where, like, because he displayed like a desperation because he has avoidant style. Do you guys remember that movie scene where he goes to the ex-girlfriend's house and he's drunk and he tries to sleep with her? And his boys have to go over there and get him because the ex-girlfriend called. And he was like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know, Mary, whatever her name is. I love her, but I just don't know. I just don't know. So he's scared.
Oh.
He's about to sabotage his whole relationship by trying to sleep with his ex-girlfriend on his wedding day, drunk. You know?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Also, the sequel when where like his wife like Mia died, he's trying to like hold it in because he still has that avoidant attachment style to him. When he was too hard on him, he was trying to struggle with his emotions during that scene.
Yeah. So I just brought in bits and pieces because it just kind of reflects how our community struggles. But you guys, I just want to leave with this: 26% Black women married right now. I mean,
oh yes.
I mean,
And also pointing the finger on each other doesn't help either.
No, it does not. No, it does not. No, it's not. It's like, and I swear to God, if I hear a Black man come in here and we want to dance around the fire, talk about we are 33% married, I'm like, you still suck. You just suck less.
Exactly. And then men are those that are supposed to propose and supposed to be the proprietors of marriage. So it just, I mean, you could do better than that.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah. So anyway, you guys, I have a private group called the Pink Pill Underground. I'm going through a deep dive in this genre. Is love dead? And I'm actually not sending out invites to everybody publicly, but I know a lot of members or former members will probably see this. So if you are a member or former member, we are starting that series, Is Love Dead, where we give a deep dive. So if you thought this was a deep dive, you ain't seen nothing yet. It's not open to the public. I just wanted to make sure I put that out there. It's kind of code for the women who know what I'm talking about. But for everybody else, next week I'm doing like it's going to be probably over an hour long. It's why Black women are single. Right now, it's like 67.5%. Right now, marriageable age Black women are single. And the reasons for it are interesting, very interesting, and actually legitimate. It's going to be an eye opener. I hope that you guys subscribe and hit your notification bell so that you know when that drops. It'll probably be Sunday because I've literally been working on it for months and I'm just doing the finishing touches on it. But it's going to blow your mind. Blow your mind. Thanks, guys, for joining me. I'm glad this was a rather pleasant conversation.
Yes,
it
was.
I didn't see a lot of trolling. I don't know if there was a lot of trolling, but this is what I'm on right now. This is how I want my channel to go. If you want to go with me, you will. But if not, that's okay too. All right, guys.
All right.
Bye,
Thanks for
Crystal.
joining.
Bye bye.
I love growing with
Take
you.
care.
You're amazing.
What'd you say?
You're amazing. I love to see the growth of this channel. I'll never leave. I love you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Same here. Same here.
Yeah.
I don't always get it right, but y'all, I'm sincere and I'm always aim to improve. And I hope that the women who listen to this, if they want these types of relationships, they won't look at that statistic as some sort of failure, but maybe an activation to see what you can do and what you can learn so that your relationship can be successful, regardless of the race of man you choose to be with. All right, ladies and gentlemen, keep it pink. Bye.
Okay. Take care.